Am I the a-hole for not paying to change my father's gravely insulting gravestone? My father and mother had a very bitter marriage towards the end of his life. He had a long-running affair with another married co-worker and got her pregnant before he passed. He was planning to leave mom, skip the country, and move to Canada to start a new life with her. They had a house picked out and all. He had moved out and was living with his co-worker when he suddenly died of a heart attack while being intimate. Divorce papers were never filed. No legal separation. They were in the process of moving all things legal, but in paper, they were still happily married. Now, me and my siblings are already out of home. Our youngest sibling is 19 and is in college. I work for a tech company and I'm currently back in my hometown helping my mom manage this estate. Well, my mom was hurt and petty. It marked his gravestone as, in loving memory of John Doe, son, husband, father, and adulterer. My dad's family and his pregnant partner are mad and want me to fix it. I personally think it's fine, as that's who he was. He was all of those things, and since it's my mom's plot, I can't do anything. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. I would die, no pun intended, if I was walking through a cemetery and saw that. Your mom is an icon, not the a-hole. I hope she burns his old shirts or something. Also, while going through estate papers and talking to lawyers, ask about what rights the side piece will have in claiming money for her kid, since it was your dad's kid too. Just so you're all prepared. Side piece is currently 9 months pregnant, about to pop any day. My mom is lawyered up, and since my dad died intestate, according to our state laws, everything goes to mom. Mom won't leave anything for side piece. She's going to leave it for us once she passes. Not the a-hole. And since it's my mom's plot, I can't do anything. So not even your drama. My dad's family and his pregnant partner are mad and want me to fix it. Stay out of it. Tell them to talk to your mom. They want me to convince my mom to fix it. My dad's family have tried talking to her, but she has stopped taking their calls. There is nothing I can do. My mother owns the headstone. She's given you the answer. And don't answer anymore. Everyone sucks here. Your dad is the a-hole for cheating, and your mom is the a-hole for writing something so horrible on his gravestone. The kid will never know their father will forever see this. And not only that, Opie seems really sour, which of course it can be. Rightly so. Your father left your mom for another woman. But in a sick way, you're also punishing that child. By not only helping to not get adulterer removed, despite how funny to us, but won't be to them. It's just hurtful. But also by not sharing the part of inheritance in the future that should have been your half-siblings too. You've stripped the child of any connection and financial support they would have gotten from your collective father. It's like you want to ignore the sibling like it doesn't exist. They do. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for saying that my boyfriend had a lifetime commitment to his ex since they are co-parents? My boyfriend used to be married to Jennifer, and they have twins. I had never dated a father before, so I really didn't know what to expect. Anyway, my boyfriend and Jennifer are co-parents and split the parenting duties pretty equally. They see each other a lot and communicate a lot about their sons. I realized after we were together for a year that things really weren't working for me. I knew my boyfriend had a commitment from before me to being a father, and that would be a lifelong commitment. I felt okay with that, and felt like that made him a good dad and a good man. I didn't realize that also meant he'd have, what I see to be, a lifelong commitment to Jennifer. To co-parent well, they have to communicate often, see each other often, work through disagreements or stressors respectfully, share holidays, stay in touch with each other's families, etc. I felt like those were things I respected him for doing, but I also didn't feel like were what I wanted in a partner. I want a partner who commits to me alone and no other woman, and I want to feel like life decisions are made between me and my partner primarily, not between my partner and his co-parents primarily. I felt like the main relationship and the dynamic was my partner and Jennifer. So I talked to him after about a year, saying that I respected his commitment to his family a lot, but I didn't feel like the relationship was working for me, because I couldn't make a life with someone who already had a lifetime commitment with another woman. My boyfriend was really upset with me for saying he had a lifetime commitment to Jennifer, saying that they were divorced. I said maybe not a marriage commitment, but they definitely have a lifetime commitment to raising their children together. They will always be the parents of two lovely boys who will be in their lives hopefully for their whole lives. And with that family, they would always have a commitment to their family and to each other. And that I was happy they could do that for their children's sake, and I respect it. But it wasn't for me. My boyfriend was really angry, saying he never wanted to commit to Jennifer, She pressured him into marriage since she got pregnant young. And she isn't his girlfriend or anything but a parent of his children to him. It is offensive to him to say he has a lifetime commitment to her. This is where I probably messed up. But I said, but you do. Whether you like it or not. You have a family together. He said that he needed some time alone and left for a few days. I feel conflicted. I honestly think that he does have a commitment to Jennifer, and I understand and respect that. But I also know he's upset to hear that. And to hear that it's the reason I don't see a relationship working long term. Am I the a-hole for telling my boyfriend he has a commitment to the mother of his children? No a-holes here, but please don't date any more single parents. It's 100% okay to feel this way, but don't waste your time or anyone else's now that you know this is a personal boundary for you. I actually applaud you for not asking him to make a decision between you, and knowing that his children will always come first. Yeah, I didn't really know what to expect getting to this relationship. I felt like I might be getting in out of my depth, since it started as a casual fling, and we only got together when we started having feelings for each other. I think in my future relationships, I want to be more intentional and take more time to think about the practicalities of how combining lives with someone would go. It's kinda sad to know people can like each other a lot, but still not be compatible because of life circumstances. It is sad, but it's better to realize this now. He needs someone in his life who is willing to have the ex-wife and kids, an ex-wife's future partner, as part of their life. It is great that you realize you are not that person. It saves so much heartache down the line. He is a package deal. Not today home. But you do, whether you like it or not. Exactly. It's naive or ignorant to think otherwise. Dating parents is always going to be a tricky thing. You have the kids to cope with, the ex, and in a lot of cases, plus their family. It never appealed to me, as I just don't think taking on that burden is worth it. This. My husband has an ex and 2 boys who he's very involved with. He talks to one of them at least once a day. Not an issue for me. I knew about it beforehand, and I was prepared for it. But Opie's completely correct. This is a lifetime commitment. Even after the boys are grown, they will probably still be communicating with his ex. If you date someone who has kids and wants to be part of their lives, that is a decent parent, the ex is going to be part of their life too. And by extension, yours. If you don't want to deal with it, don't. There's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting your significant other's commitment to be to you alone. If you've figured this out, great. You know now that you don't want to date a single parent from now on. Again, nothing wrong with that. So yeah, not a day-hole at all. No a-holes here. You're right. He has a commitment to his kids, and it's honestly good to see that he gets along with his ex to co-parent effectively. You've figured out that this relationship isn't for you, and there's nothing wrong with that. He's upset because you are ending the relationship, so his reaction is not unexpected, unless he went overboard in being angry, which would tip this to not a day-hole for you. Next story. Am I the a-hole for acting unhappy at me and my wife's gender reveal? My wife is 7 months pregnant. It came as a complete surprise, as my wife had been taking birth control regularly. We had originally planned to not have any kids, but my wife changed her mind after her first ultrasound. I respected her decision, even if I wasn't the happiest about it. I told her that regardless, I wasn't going to force her to make a decision. We had a gender party late because of issues with the pandemic, but we finally got around to it. I already was not happy, given the circumstances that I did not want to have any children. I still participated to show support to my wife though. Once the gender reveal happened, everyone including my wife was ecstatic. She went to go hug me and I hugged her back, just not with the same energy. She looked at me with a concerned face, but went off to hug some of her friends and family. Once it was over and we got everything put up, she blew up at me. Said I embarrassed her in front of her family. The least I could have done was pretended I cared. I told her I didn't really see a point in throwing a party just because of the gender, but she wanted to do it, so I agreed. She said she understood that I didn't really want to have a baby, but that since they were almost here that I should probably lose the attitude already. I responded saying that since she knew I didn't want the baby, she shouldn't be surprised I wasn't enjoying the baby shower. She supposedly thought that the baby shower would change my mind, but was upset it hadn't. I told her that I wasn't going to apologize for simply not showing any emotion, and that she needed to give me time to adjust, especially with a kid on the way. Am I the a-hole? Edit. We used protection and I was denied a vasectomy by my doctor. I don't think this is really a question about who's the a-hole. I think your world is changing dramatically in a way which you weren't prepared for, and that therapy is almost definitely required. It's not wrong to be freaked out, But you've decided to go ahead with this, and now you need to find a way to come to terms with it, ideally before the kid arrives, so you can parent your child in the fullest and best way possible. I said her decision because ultimately it was. She's the one carrying the baby, not me. I couldn't force her to terminate even if I wanted to. And yeah, it could be a fear of unknown. I'm not sure. I'm still with her because I do believe I can have a change of heart once I hold our kid. I just have a lot going through my head at this point. Please get therapy immediately. You need to process this, preferably before the baby is born. Your wife must already feel really alone in her pregnancy. And when she gives birth, she is really vulnerable and shouldn't have to worry about you. It sucks that this happened to you. But it's not fair on your wife and child if you resent the child. Therapy can help with that, or at least make clear how you wish to proceed. You're not an a-hole for being nonplussed at a gender reveal. Gender reveals are stupid. But man, you need to check your attitude. If you are not willing or able to be all in with this kid, remove yourself from the situation and commit to paying child support. I get that you didn't want a kid, but it is happening. You did it. And the kid does not deserve a father who isn't going to give their all. A father whose attitude towards them is, I didn't want you. Your wife is right. You don't need to lose the attitude already. If you think you can lift yourself, if you think there's a chance that dad mode will kick in when the baby is born, then great. But start doing it now. For your sake and for your wife's. Not going to give a ruling because I don't think you're an a-hole. You just need a whack around head. You're the a-hole. Not for not spontaneously being excited for a child when you don't/didn't want a child. But you're the a-hole for making it so obvious, especially at a party. Sorry to say. But unless you think you could pull it together and generate some excitement, I think you should look into divorce. Because there is going to be a child. And in my opinion, as a child of divorce, I would say having a single parent is better than having one of two parents obviously not give a crap about you. I agree with this. If you're going to be simmering with resentment for much of the child's life, that's awful for all involved. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for sending my son to his dad after he broke his sister's phone just because she called my husband Dad? When my husband first met my kids 4 years ago, Sarah 14, Jonathan 17, things were tense. Although my husband loved them instantly, Jonathan decided to make it hard and influenced Sarah to do the same. He treated my husband poorly, called him the guy mom married, broke/threw his stuff, and shut him out when he tried to get close. We got family therapy, but Jonathan refused and tried to stop Sarah from going. Sarah was hesitant, saying she promised Jonathan not to do what her stepdad wants, and was afraid he'd get angry. She then attended therapy, and things started working out between her and my husband. They got close, which upset Jonathan, who tried giving Sarah, didn't know then, punishments for betraying his orders. We tried getting Jonathan in therapy again, but my ex defended his decision and demanded we leave it alone. Things have calmed down. Then yesterday morning at 8, Sarah rushed into the kitchen where I was washing glasses while Jonathan and my husband was sitting having breakfast. She was looking for her phone charger but didn't find it in her room. She quickly turned her face towards my husband and said, Dad, Jonathan, have you guys seen my phone charger? Me, my husband, and Jonathan paused. This was her first time ever calling him Dad, and it came unexpectedly and naturally. My husband tried to answer but was too overwhelmed to speak. His eyes were teary. He couldn't hide it even when he tried. Sarah didn't even notice. She just rushed out to keep looking. Jonathan followed her. My husband bit his lips and kept looking at me, then started crying. I was genuinely smiling, which awful since he was crying a mess, but I was just so happy for him. Then I heard noise coming from upstairs. It was Jonathan yelling at Sarah for calling her stepdad Dad. He punished her by throwing her phone and breaking it. She cried, telling him to leave her alone, but he kept yelling, saying she betrayed their real dad and called this guy Dad. I got involved and asked him why he broke Sarah's phone. He called her a traitor, but I replied my husband did nothing to treat him this way, and his behavior was out of line. I said he either respected this household, his stepdad, his sister and me, or go stay with his dad till he agrees to get therapy and change his behavior. I contacted my ex saying Jonathan will go stay with him for now. And therapy is in order since I can't let him intimidate Sarah, especially after Sarah told me she's afraid of him. My ex fought me, saying I chose a guy over my own son. Typical. He got his family involved, and they all called me cruel for kicking Jonathan out of his own home, even after I explained how he's been treating his sister. I gave him options: get therapy or stay with his dad. No one seems to agree with me, but I think that no one is seeing, or maybe they're turning a blind eye, how Jonathan has been mistreating his sister. She needs to feel safe in her own home, and be able to express herself without being punished/intimidated by her older brother. Not today, home. Your son is mistreating your daughter. You're not picking your husband over your son. You are protecting your daughter from your son. And maybe it's for the best that he stays with his dad if he finds your husband so offensive to the point where he acts out like this. Your ex is also partially to blame for enjoying the treatment your son dishes out to members of the household, due to his dislike of you remarrying. I understand his hurt, but that doesn't give him the right to destroy or break property that doesn't belong solely to him. Therapy or move to dad sounds pretty darn reasonable in my opinion. I bet this has been festering a long time. The ex and his family have been egging the son on, which will likely only continue if he goes to live with him. It's such a shame the ex thinks his ego is more important than his son, who has clearly been struggling and could use support from family instead of poison. I hope he should expect son to pull away if he goes to live with the ex, because this trash talking won't stop. But her son is almost an adult, so there's always hope that as he matures, he will gain some empathy and see the situation with some experience and come around. Opie and husband should continue being supportive and always let son know that the door is open, so long as that sort of treatment of his sister never happens again. He doesn't have to ever like his stepdad, but he does have to respect him, mom's relationship with him, and sister's very valid feelings for him. Not today, home. The issue I see isn't between your son and your husband, but between your son and your daughter who thinks he has authority to punish. But I'm not a therapist who would have the training to see what the issue really is. I think everyone would be doing your son a disservice if they framed this as bio-dad versus the man that turned his mama on. Your son has issues that need to be addressed wherever he lives.